Okay, we left off with the general and specific environments with this slide, right? So first we're going to go into the general environments and really get into them specifically. And the first thing we're going to talk about is economy. So when we look at the economy, a growing economy usually provides a favorable environment for business growth, right? So right here. But is that always the case? It really depends on your business and the industry you're in. For my industry, which is the education industry, a favorable economy actually doesn't provide growth opportunities. People tend to not go to school and find jobs. And you're going to be doing a SWOT analysis on Salt Lake Community College. So these are things that you really want to consider as you're looking at how the opportunities and the threats associated with Salt Lake Community College. Again, opportunities and threats are outside, and the economy is kind of outside what the community college can control. Okay, business confidence indexes show how confident managers are about future business growth. Those indices or indexes are looking at manufacturing levels, buying raw materials for manufacturing. When managers and companies feel good about the economy, they'll actually hire more people, buy more supplies, and prep to improve production, increase production. So these are some of the things that we look at to determine how well the economy is doing. Now, if you take an econ class, you'll get more into what that is all about. When I teach small business management, we talk a lot about these things, but that's all you really need to know for this class. The technological component, technology. So again, when we look at the community college or the education industry, is technology really changing the way we're doing business? Well, I'm making this lecture video and putting it on YouTube so that my online students can have it. I'll also make it available for my students that attend my lecture classes, to review and stuff. So yeah, technology is changing the way I do business. But is it impacting the company I work for in a major way? And if so, how? And so I'd start thinking about the massive online learning resources, Khan Academy. There's a lot of free courses out there that you can take, so you don't actually have to go pay to take maybe a management class. I haven't found actually a management like essentials class that replicate what we do out there, but I've been looking, right, because I want ideas, and if they have stuff that I can use, I want to bring that into my class. TED Talks, right? How has that helped us? Have we evened the playing field with technology? Okay, social cultural component. Demographics. How are the demographics changing, and how are those changes affecting the industry that we're looking at? Again, one of the things that you're developing here as you seriously ask these questions is your ability to conceptualize and see the big picture. And as you grow up in management, as you move from a team lead to a first-line manager up to the CEO or see something, you need to have that ability to see the big picture and the conceptual thing. So demographics, what's the biggest growing demographic right now? I think I don't want to say the aged, those in retirement, right? That retirement age group. We live longer, people are still retiring at 65. We have a huge population there. Does that affect how we teach? Should it? What are the other demographics, and what trends are going on in those demographics? Like one of the things that's going on is that more women are going to school than men. So we'll have a more educated female workforce than men, and what kind of change in those dynamics? Is there something that we can do at the community college, at the business school, that will take advantage of that, right? Maybe offering more online classes for the women who have children or small children who still want to get their education, stuff like that. That's the social cultural component. All right, political legal component. Politically, how is Salt Lake Community College being affected politically and legally? Legally, we want to be what's called accredited. And accreditation doesn't change. It's kind of a static, very static. Sometimes they'll say, well, we're going to improve whatever, we're going to do this for accreditation. So, but minor changes, gradual. It's a slow-moving bus that we're on as far as accreditation. But politically, what happens? Well, when we have a lot more money in our tax coffers, does some of that go to the community college? Should it go to the community college? How should we make it go to the community college? What's going on right now that will affect the community college politically? And there are things going on, so it'll be fun to see what you guys put in there. Now we're going to move, so those are general environment. Now we're going to go into the specific environment. So we have customers, competitors, suppliers, industrial regulations, and advocacy groups. Our customer component. Who are the customers of the Salt Lake Community College? Or whatever company that you're studying right now, or the company that you work for. Some of our customers are, well, when I think of customers, I think, well, who is paying for the services that we're providing? So we have students that are paying for it. We have parents that are paying for it. We have governments that are paying for it, right? We also have companies that pay for it. Sometimes they'll send their employees just to one class, maybe this Management Essentials class, or they might send them to a Six Sigma class. So, or they might send them, here, we'll pay for you to go to school. Lots of companies in the Valley do that. Varian, eBay, Overstocked, Larry H. Miller, a lot of companies that will pay for their employees to go to school. So they are customers too, right? So how do we better serve our customers? How do we be proactive in identifying and addressing the customer needs and trends and issues before they occur? And actually, if we can figure out what the customer needs before the customer knows they need it and act upon it, that's true customer service. That's being proactive about meeting our customer needs. Reactive is my customer's complaining, and now I'm changing the way I'm doing things. Okay, our competitors. Who are our competitors? Well, in some ways, our customers can be our competitors too. So when the economy is good, we have the industry that takes students out of school and put them to work. But then we also have them, incentivizing them to go to work. So industry can be a competitor for us. There might be, is the U a competitor for us? Maybe, maybe not. They just came out with stats showing that that students that graduate with an AS from Salt Lake Community College and transfer to the U do better than the students at the U who went their freshman and sophomore year there, in the business school at least. And they're trying to work out something so that if you get an AS with a B average, you're automatically accepted into their program because they have those stats to prove it. So in some ways, the U is a competitor. In some ways, they're a customer, right? So understanding those nuances is part of this conceptualization and understanding the big picture. We can do competitive analysis. So we label all of our competitors and we look at how we perform versus their performance. What are our strengths versus their strengths, our weaknesses versus their weaknesses, and what opportunities do we see in there? Supplier component. Well, who supplies our services? There's a lot of different services we use. Part of it is to help students get through the process, and part of it's injecting knowledge into the student base. And so I guess some of our suppliers are people like me who were in industry and decided to leave industry and go into teaching. Part of our supplier base are the people who work our IT, right, and provide these services for us. One of the things that we look at supplier component is who has power in that relationship. Right now there's a lot of people who want to have jobs at the community college even though it doesn't pay very well. So, but it provides a nicer lifestyle, I would say, than, well, I enjoy working here more than I enjoy working, oh, I don't know, IBM was fun, paid a lot more, but I enjoy the atmosphere and what I'm doing here. Now we're going to get into our behaviors with our suppliers. When we have a lot of people applying to the community college, there isn't necessarily incentive to pay the people working here more or pay people more to come here. And if we're not paying people fair market value for what they're providing, that's treating our staff in an opportunistic way, or our faculty in an opportunistic way. So they try to make up with it by giving us great benefits and, you know, reasonable time off and that kind of thing. What we want instead of opportunistic behavior, be it Walmart being opportunistic with its suppliers and making them slash prices and just giving bare minimum margins, to the opposite, where you have an overabundance of talent and you're just not paying them enough, right? We want relationship behavior where we're focusing on mutual beneficial long-term relationships, and we find that true in supply chain. We really want good, when we're working with our vendors, really good relationship behaviors. Okay, this is running long. Let me see if I can speed it up. Industrial regulation, regulations and rules that govern practices and procedures for specific industries, businesses, and professions. When you're doing your SWOT analysis on the community college, I'm thinking that might change. So you might not be, if this is a group other than fall 2015, you might not be doing your SWOT on Salt Lake Community College. But if you are, what regulations influence our decisions? And are any of those changing? When we look politically, one of the things that Obama was pushing a little while ago is to make all community colleges free. Okay, where does that funding come from? Is there going to be enough to actually, again, look at the supply base and pay your instructors and your professors well enough so that they can still enjoy? Or will it cut our pay, and where I'm like, I can't afford this, I need to go look at Adobe to see if there's a job there. So these are one of the things that we look at when we look at the industry and the regulation. Here's some of the federal regulations that affect all corporations, even nonprofits. Okay, advocacy groups. Concerned citizens who band together to try to influence the business practices in specific industries, businesses, or professions. First, they will communicate what they want, or say, hey, well, this is what we found. Nike has sweatshops in Vietnam, right? And they'll let their own people know. They'll put that on their website. And we have public communication of grievances that we found. And then they do a media awareness, where not only are we putting it on our website and telling our members, but now we're buying commercial space and saying Nike has been bad. In Vietnam, they barely pay their people above minimum wage. And then they call for a boycott. So the most progressive, damaging thing that an advocacy group can do is call for a boycott. Okay, I think we just hit 14 minutes. So that's enough for this long lecture. And my son's right here.
Yeah.